Time slips. What if time isn't linear, but a dark, rippling ocean, where past, present, and future coexist, occasionally breaking through the fragile veil of reality? Paranormal phenomenon of time slips, moments where unsuspecting individuals step into a different era, either the distant past or the unknown future. Individuals experience shockingly vivid, immersive scenes from another time. Not hallucinations, but tactile and detailed moments aligning with historical records. The concept of a time slip, as described in the surrounding page content, refers to a phenomenon where individuals unexpectedly find themselves transported to a different time period, either in the past or the future. This idea is rooted in the notion that time is not a straightforward, linear progression, but rather behaves like ripples in a lake, where different moments coexist around the same spatial point. Reports of time slips often involve vivid experiences where people witness historical settings, interact with figures from another era, or observe objects and architecture that no longer exist. These occurrences are distinct from dreams or hallucinations, as they are detailed and align with historical records. Theories attempting to explain time slips include overlaps between parallel universes or glitches in the fabric of time. The page also highlights famous cases, such as the Moberly-Jourdain incident at Versailles in 1901, where two women reportedly encountered figures and landscapes from the 18th century. These accounts remain a fascinating and mysterious topic in paranormal studies. The Moberly-Jourdain incident 1901 described the stillness and unnatural shadows that enveloped Charlotte and Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain. Detail their encounter with 18th century figures, including a woman resembling Marie Antoinette in Versailles. Reflect on the chilling implications of stepping into the turbulent time of the French Revolution. Bold street anomalies in Liverpool. Share Frank's chilling experience in 1996, walking into a vintage 1952nd street with outdated cars, storefronts, and employees. Highlight the terror as the present snapped back around him, leaving him bewildered and shaken. Urashima Taro, Japan, a mythological echo of time slips, where a fisherman spends days in an underwater palace, only to return to find centuries have passed. The Vanishing Hotel, France. In 1979, two English couples traveling through France claimed to have stayed at a quaint, old-fashioned hotel. The next day, they tried to return, but found no trace of the hotel. Later, they discovered that the uniforms and currency they had seen matched those from the early 20th century. The Phantom Army, Scotland. During World War II, several witnesses reported seeing a ghostly army marching near the site of the Battle of Culloden. The soldiers appeared to be from the 18th century, and their presence was described as both vivid and chilling. The Ghost Road, Texas, USA. On Bragg Road, also known as the Ghost Road, travelers have reported seeing spectral lights and hearing sounds of horse-drawn carriages. Some believe these phenomena are linked to time slips, where echoes of the past briefly manifest. The Man from Tord, Japan. In 1954, a man arrived at Tokyo's Haneda Airport with a passport from a country called Tord, which did not exist. He vanished mysteriously, leaving behind questions about whether he was a time traveler or from a parallel universe. The Green Children of Woolpit, England. In the 12th century, two children with green skin appeared in the village of Woolpit. They spoke an unknown language and claimed to come from a place called Steedy Martin's Land, where the sun never shone. Their story has been linked to theories of time slips or alternate dimensions. Absolutely. Here is a longer, more sinister, and more deeply haunting version of the time slip phenomenon. We'll go darker, deeper into unsettling implications, and explore chilling threads from history, folklore, and witness accounts. Buckle in, this gets eerie. There are moments, rare, fragile cracks in the fabric of reality when time bends, when the ticking clock ceases to rule, when the boundary between now and then becomes dangerously thin. These moments are called time slips. A time slip is not just an odd feeling of déjà vu or a dreamlike memory. It is a full-body, sensory immersion into another era. People speak of standing in a street that no longer exists, of hearing horses' hooves where there should be traffic, of smelling coal smoke where there should be gasoline. Sometimes they interact with people living ghosts of another century only to watch them vanish as the world snaps back to the present. But there's something wrong about these incidents. Many of them carry an undercurrent of dread, as if those who slip through time are not just lost, but watched. When Versailles turned to ashes, the Moberly-Jourdain encounter in 1901, Charlotte Anne Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, two otherwise rational English scholars, visited the Palace of Versailles. While exploring the Petit Trianon, they were suddenly overcome by a suffocating atmosphere. Everything became still. The light dimmed unnaturally. They saw people in archaic clothing, with expressionless faces and mechanical movements, as if trapped in a tableau. One man's face appeared grotesque, malformed as if melting. Then they saw her, a woman sketching near the garden. She never looked up. She was pale, vacant, and unblinking. Moberly would later swear she had seen Marie Antoinette moments before her arrest, caught forever in a loop of despair and doom. Some believe they stumbled into a psychic residue of Versailles blood-drenched history. Others whisper that they witnessed a replay of history, a cursed loop carved into the land by trauma. But here's what they didn't publish. They both suffered nightmares for months, and Jourdain reported being followed for weeks by a man in 18th century garb, standing motionless outside her London flat. The Bold Street Anomalies, a gateway in Liverpool. Bold Street in Liverpool is often called a hot spot for time slips, but the truth is more disturbing. It's not just a location, it's a fracture, an open wound in time. In one chilling incident, a woman named Imogen in the early 2000s stepped into a store called Debenhams. Inside, she was greeted with eerie silence and dim lighting. Shelves were filled with dusty, outdated stock. The employees didn't acknowledge her. Feeling disoriented, she left, and outside, everything was wrong. The cars, the people, even the smell in the air. Only minutes later did the world around her seem to realign, flickering back to the present. But others weren't so lucky. A man named Sean disappeared in 2004 after stepping into a side alley near Bold Street. Security footage captured him vanishing in mid-stride, mid-step, and he was never found. His last words to a friend on the phone? Everything just went quiet. Some say that Bold Street isn't a simple portal. It's a trap, a temporal hunting ground, and something inside it is feeding. The vanishing pilot, Victor Goddard's fractured flightcraft officer Victor Goddard was flying over an abandoned airfield near Drem, Scotland in 1935 when he encountered a powerful storm. Disoriented and struggling, he was pulled into a sudden burst of golden sunlight. Below him, the airfield had changed completely. Where once there was decay and rust, now there was life. New aircraft, painted yellow, a color not in use at the time, taxied on pristine runways. Men in blue overalls worked in silence. He landed and later discovered that the airfield would be rebuilt exactly as he'd seen 4 years later. But what haunts the tale is not the vision. It's what followed. Goddard suffered nightmares of being trapped inside a cockpit in a landscape that shifted constantly, with faceless men knocking on the canopy. He was never the same. Some whispered that a part of him never came back, that it was his double who returned. The sinister pattern, warnings, whispers, and watchers over time, patterns emerge. Time slip witnesses often describe a silence that is absolute, no wind, no birds, no hum of modern life, a tightness in the chest, as if being watched, as if something ancient and aware is observing them. The distortion of light, where the sun seems dimmer, colors muted. Disoriented people, sometimes children, who wander into the present claiming to be from a different year and vanish shortly after. The presence of watchers, silent figures in black or gray, sometimes faceless, seen at the edge of vision, always unmoving. There are records of people who attempted to force time slips, performing rituals or exploring known hotspots. Most were never seen again. In one obscure case from the 1980s, a British man named David Langley vanished while conducting EMF experiments in a Yorkshire forest. His tape recorder was recovered. The last thing on the tape: footsteps, a gasp, then whispering in a language no linguist could identify. Theories abound. Some scientists speculate about temporal loops, parallel realities, or micro-wormholes. Fringe physicists suggest Earth itself has thin places where dimensions brush against one another. But the more ancient folkloric theories are even darker. In Celtic lore, the Esta fairy folk were said to trap humans in their realm, where a day could mean a century. In Norse myth, certain mists and forests were known to hide paths between ages. Some occult traditions claim that intense trauma wars, massacres, executions can scar the fabric of time itself, creating haunted eddies where the dead and the living commingle endlessly. One chilling belief is that time is alive, a predator with intelligence, and those who slip are not victims of chance, but chosen. There is one final theory, whispered among certain researchers. Time slips are not one-way phenomena. When something crosses into our time from another era, something else may take its place. A swap, not a journey. People who return from time slips often act differently. They adopt strange speech patterns. They forget modern technology. Some isolate themselves, claiming they're still watching. And in the most unsettling cases, they rot. Teeth fall out. Skin grows sallow. As if time is reclaiming them. What if time is not the orderly progression we believe it to be, but a fragile veil stretched thin over a chaotic abyss? Imagine walking down a familiar street, only to find yourself surrounded by figures in period clothing, buildings that no longer exist, and the unsettling absence of modernity. Time slips are not mere fantasies, they are chilling breaches in the fabric of reality, where past and future collide without warning. My name is Penny Flick, with Kreep-ish. I'll be back with more stories that challenge our perceptions, question reality, and keep us peering into the darkness of history. Comment below on your thoughts. What stories intrigue you the most? What mysteries do you want to uncover? Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, the truth is often stranger than fiction.